You know, this weekend, you actually have a few options for your movie viewing pleasure. You could watch Spike Lee's new joint, The Five Bloods. You could watch the new Pete Davidson movie, King of Staten Island. Or you could watch Artemis Fowl. If I had to tell you which one to watch, I would say, whatever you watch this weekend, please don't watch Artemis Fowl. I could just end the review right there, but no. So Artemis Fowl is directed by Kenneth Branagh, and it stars a few people: Judi Dench, Josh Gad, Colin Farrell, and it's based off a book of the same name, and it's about this child prodigy whose dad is kidnapped. His dad was a famous thief, and he's basically trying to be like his dad, and there's this conflict between him and this fantasy world, and this movie was in development hell for 2 decades. And it was also supposed to come out last summer. They even had a trailer and everything. And then they pushed it to May of this year, and then with the pandemic, they decided, let's just send it straight to Disney+. And Disney has been careful about their movies. Like, they keep saying, no, we're not going to put Mulan on Disney+. No, we're not going to put Black Widow on Disney+. Artemis Fowl will put on Disney+. Because, yeah. And of all of Disney movies that are coming out this year, this seemed like the one that was going to be the outlier, the bomb, the total failure at the box office. It was going to be their new A Wrinkle in Time, or their new Nutcracker in the Four Realms, or the new Mars Needs Moms, or whatever. And this movie is, this movie's a bomb. It's with a bomb. And those movies were definitely bad, but this movie is worse. Yikes. So, is there anything good in this movie? No. No, there isn't. There really isn't. So, what's really bad about this movie? Pretty much everything in this movie is bad. The acting is terrible all across the board. Judi Dench, she sounds like she smoked for 20, not even 20 years, for basically her entire life, and it just sounds that way. It just sounds like her voice is just gravelly and she just looks so confused as to what's going on throughout this entire movie. Listen, Cats Lady, what are you doing? Josh Gad, he's also really terrible in this movie as a gigantic dwarf. Yeah, you heard me right, a gigantic dwarf. His humor is very flat. He's also the narrator of this movie, and he sounds different as the narrator than he does as his character, which I thought was an odd choice. Colin Farrell's also very bland in this movie, doesn't really emote in this movie. He appears in a few scenes with Artemis Fowl, and he appears kidnapped, and he just looks very bored throughout, like, what am I doing here? Meanwhile, the kid who plays Artemis Fowl, he's also really terrible. And I feel bad for a lot of reasons. Like, I'm not going to I try not to criticize child actors because I know, like, they're just getting into the business. But it should be noted, this is this kid's first movie. His very first movie. And his character is so horrible. He's just not interesting. He's so mean-spirited. It's just annoying. Yeah. Meanwhile, Ananzo Ananzi, he plays the butler of Artemis Fowl in this movie. He plays a butler whose last name is Butler, but hates being called Butler. He's boring throughout the entire movie. He also has a niece in this movie who, pretty sure that was also her first movie too. She appears in one scene to give a main character food, and then she's in danger at one point. She's dangling for her life. She's saved. Barely appears in the rest of the movie. The only character who I thought was only kind of okay was Laura McDonnell. She plays a fairy in this movie, and she was okay, but not, like, even really that good. No, I don't really remember anything about her. No one in this movie has any personality in this movie. No one in this movie has any chemistry with each other. It's just actors doing stuff while not feeling anything. Like, the action is very weak throughout the entire movie. It's like you're trying to understand what's going on because, like, okay, it's kind of chopped up in bits and it's like edited like really fast. And then when they like actually take the time to like stop the editing, you're just kind of confused. It's like, what is actually happening? Like, what are they actually doing in the scene? It is insane what they're doing. It just looks wrong. It just looks so wrong. And like the fantasy world doesn't look that interesting. Like pretty much every design of a character or anything in this fantasy world or even in the real world, it looks like something ripped out of another movie. Like this is like ripped out of a movie that ripped it off from another movie. This is a third degree movie. That's all I can really say. Also, they really talk about Ireland throughout this entire movie, and doesn't really add to the movie. It's like, this movie takes place in Ireland. Ireland is important. And because Artemis Fowl and his dad are Irish, and that's it. There's really no reason why they really bring up Ireland a lot in this movie. Like, it's such a weird movie to me. This is a disaster in pretty much every way imaginable. And like Kenneth Branagh, you know, he's a very capable director. I actually do like that first Thor movie. He directed the Cinderella remake, which I thought was pretty good. He stumbled a little bit with Murder on the Orient Express, but this movie, what are you doing? What are you doing? And also with all these other actors, what are you doing? That's all I can really say about this movie is, what are you doing? There's just horrible action, horrible editing, horrible characters, horrible chemistry for everyone. It's one of Disney's biggest disasters, to say the least. Like, even without the pandemic, I'm pretty sure this would have gone to Disney Plus. This is just, you kind of have to wonder if there was more than one reason why this was put on Disney Plus, other than saying, well, the pandemic shut down all theaters. We got nowhere else to go with this. So let's just throw it out there. We already know it's a loss. They knew it was a bomb. And just don't watch this. Just really don't watch this. I had a hard time trying to think of anything that was actually good about this movie. And there's nothing. This is nothing to me. I'm going all the way down. I'm going all the way down to 0. I'm going 0 out of 4 stars. Skip it. So, what is your least favorite movie of the year so far? Comment down below, subscribe to the channel. This is Pat, and stay safe and please don't watch this movie.